Hi, this is Nancy Yearout, and welcome to my show, High Road to Humanity. In every episode, I tell you powerful true stories filled with great wisdom that you can use in your own life as you strive for a higher road to travel. My featured guests will have their own unique stories to tell that enlighten your mind and your soul. So kick back, relax, and learn the secret to success when you take the high road.
First touch, strong connection, it lays deep in your soul.
Hi, this is Nancy Yearout, and welcome to High Road to Humanity. And guess who's here today? Bernie Ashman is here, and we're going to learn about sun sign karma. Now, this is really interesting because this is resolving past life patterns with astrology, which is a new thing for me. So remember to share the show and remember to subscribe to the channel. This is going to be a really interesting one. Before I bring him on, though, let me just tell you a little bit about what's happening with humanity. I couldn't keep my mouth shut on this one. Here's the headline this morning: Watch as Facebook whistleblowers Francis Hagen testifies before the Senate. Now, what it says is the whistleblower who leaked internal Facebook research to Congress and the Wall Street Journal will testify before the Senate on Tuesday. So that's today. And also, recent investigations from the Journal revealed that the company's executives understood the negative impact of Instagram among younger users, including an increase in suicidal thoughts. You know, I saw a little bit of this yesterday. I'm not going to read this whole deal, but I saw a little bit of this on the news, and it said something to the effect that they had evidence that showed that it really impacted young women, and they didn't care. They went for the cash. So that's kind of a really sad situation that I see happening right now. Because we are recording this, I planned on putting this out today, but just a few minutes ago, I saw U.S. Capitol Police perform a controlled explosion on suspicious vehicle outside the Supreme Court. So a man was taken into custody after the U.S. Capitol Police extracted him from a suspicious SUV outside the Supreme Court building in Washington. This happened just a little while ago. Video from the scene showed a loud bang and smoke before officers rushed in and entered the vehicle to grab the man. He was identified as a 55-year-old Dale Paul Melvin from Michigan. That's kind of crazy. He was pulled to the floor, tied, and led away in custody with his hands behind his back. So that just happened. That was kind of weird. It's a weird day with humanity. I'm glad you're here today, Bernie. Maybe you can set us straight. Do you have anything to say about any of that stuff going on? What about the Facebook? What do you think?
Well, it just seems like a time where things are just, coming out in the open with corporations.
Mhm.
I had a feeling when, tell you the truth, when you went back to when the pandemic started, there was a conjunction between Pluto and Saturn at that time.
Okay.
And that's one happens every 35 years. And I
Okay.
still think we're getting the residue of that conjunction, like bringing stuff out in the open with companies and large corporations,
Yeah.
like Facebook.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
That,
Well, and
things.
yeah, no, I had heard too that they were going to do like a children's Facebook, and they said somebody put the brakes on that and said, whoa, 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 before we do that, let's just get the first one corrected, because it's not. And I think that's what kind of catapulted this woman from, to step forward and say, hey, it's always nice to have somebody who stands up. Does it say that astrologically that somebody will stand up and say, yeah.
I think we're just, living at that kind of time, with different cycles that are going on right now. That's probably not going to be the first person. I would imagine it's going to keep happening with different type companies, governments, whatever.
Well, let me read your bio here, and we're going to talk about sun sign karma. It's a guide to clearing your past life karma and making positive transformations. Bernie is out of Durham, North Carolina. He's a highly respected professional astrologer who's been studying, practicing, and teaching for over 35 years. He's the author of several books and has contributed to the astrology magazines Dell Horoscope, Astro Signs, The Mountain Astrologer. Wow. And Welcome to Planet Earth. Bernie also gives personal readings, conducts lectures, and contributes to astrology software programs. That's cool. For more information, if you want to visit him, it's bernieashman.com. Bernie, welcome to High Road officially here.
Thank you. Appreciate it. It's good to be here.
Yeah, I'm glad you're here. This was really interesting. I guess I want to know your story first of all. How'd you get into doing astrology?
It was back in the 1970s. I was already into, studying metaphysics. I was in the whole thing, meditation, psychic readings, that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I just happened to discover astrology actually through a book called The Astrology of Personality by a guy named Dane Rudhyar.
Okay.
And I was hooked. I was absolutely hooked, and I never
Yeah.
looked back after that.
Wow.
So that's what really got me started. It happened
Okay.
pretty fast. I just dove in and spent a lot of time studying it. I started doing readings probably within about 6 months just to get the experience of doing them.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes a while though to get really good at it. I
Right.
just wanted to see what the process was like of doing them. So,
Okay.
in those days there were no computers. You had to do it all
You had to do it by
so
hand. Yeah.
hand logarithms, and it was kind of a tedious process. So
Right.
it's a lot easier now. It takes all that work out of setting up a chart. So
Well,
it's
but
just an easier time period.
yeah. So as you did this, were you using your intuition as well as the astrological?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I knew I really was intuitive early on. I actually started doing like readings for people, like holding something
Yeah.
and giving them a reading of some sort. And
Picking up the
I was,
energy. Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I was actually pretty good at that, but I just felt like there was some other, you could say, vehicle for me. And then when I
Mm-hmm.
discovered astrology, it was just a perfect fit for me. I almost felt like I had done it before because
Yeah.
I was just grateful that it came to me really quickly.
Right.
So I felt fortunate that way. But I did study quite a bit, and there was already some really good books on it by different people that have been in it for a pretty good while. So I read a lot, and just from diving into it and practicing it, it
Mm-hmm.
was quite an experience. And my intuition really found a vehicle for itself to flow through it.
Right.
So yeah, I felt intuitive really early on in my life.
Yeah,
So
that's awesome. I'm a psychic. I don't know if you know that or not. You may not. I have clear cognizance, and but what took me a while, and I'll ask you this question, and I'm working on it right now. I can give information to anybody about anything, but it's more difficult for myself. It's almost like you block yourself, and so I'm
yes.
learning. I'm learning to. We're always learning, and I'm learning to just
Right.
trust my intuition for myself. Talk to me about that. Did
Yeah.
you have that too?
Yeah, very much so.
Okay.
It's really funny for me because when I got into doing astrology, I really found that I trusted it that much more. But you're
Okay.
right. I mean, to do it for yourself, though, um, it takes a little while, I think, a lot of time. We're always
Mhm,
learning, as you say,
mhm,
we're
mhm.
growing. And there are times where you're going to have a little self-doubt. That's just being human,
Right,
it's just a normal experience.
right.
But I think when you start trusting your intuition, um, you really do get results. And it's just a wonderful thing,
It
a
really
wonderful
is.
experience.
It
Yeah.
really is. You say there is an. I wrote some of your quotes out of your book, but it's
Yeah.
in your foreword. You say there's an excellent chance you have past life instincts that have been carried over into this lifetime, and I believe that. I think a lot of us, have this. But what you've done with this book, and you might want to go into depth here, is give us, if I'm an Aquarius, so I looked up mine and it tells me all the things that I could have carried over. But the cool thing, because I was like getting kind of frustrated. I was like, oh my God, what do I do about this? But then you give an answer. So talk about
Right.
this. And how did you even come up with this, by the way? I'm just amazed that you did this.
Yeah. I think it actually, I've done thousands and thousands of readings for people. So
Okay.
it was based on a lot of research, my own experiences and my intuition in doing that book.
Okay.
But that section that you're talking about, where I have the answers that I give for
Mm-hmm.
what I'm talking about, what you brought in,
Mm-hmm.
what I called altered perceptions.
Okay.
And sometimes that's what it is. It may be just tweaking something that isn't working the way you want it to,
Mm-hmm.
and just getting a little clarity about it. And I tried to offer that in the book as a resolution for it. a positive way to take the
Yeah.
same energy and channel it into something more productive. But yeah, the book came to me rather quickly. I was surprised. I thought I was writing an article, to be honest with you. My wife was sitting next to me. She was
Okay.
watching something on TV, and here I am, I'm typing up, I think. She said, "What are you working on?" And I said, "Well, I'm not sure." She thought I was kidding her,
Yeah.
And I got to about 500 words, and she asked me again. And I said, "I'm not absolutely sure what this is." And when I got to about 800 words, I turned to her and I said, "This is a book." Which really, so it was a pleasant surprise, and it just took off. So it's interesting how sometimes when you just go with your intuition
Right.
or your passion,
hmm
what might result from that. But it's actually how the book actually got started. I just went
Interesting.
with it.
Yeah.
I had an idea what I was doing, but I wasn't exactly sure where this thing was going. But that what you're talking about, though, my main emphasis in the book, it wasn't to really have anything really judgmental about me or anybody else. It
No,
was just
right.
offer another way, to take a look at different things that maybe we just want to empower ourselves through.
Well, it's hard to
Just
take
make
a look at yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Just another way to do it, really.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well said.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
no, it is. Because I mean, I always read this stuff and I'm like, oh, am I like that? Did I bring that from a past life? Now we've got about a minute or so to commercial break, but I have a quick question. So
Yeah.
through your readings and through your astrology readings and everything, did you realize that a lot of people had hangups and had issues in their relationships because they were still carrying this karma with them from previous relationships?
Yeah, definitely that was one of the key factors in me writing the book.
hmm
Um, because we know there's no perfect people, no perfect relationships,
Right.
but there is stuff we bring in. And I made a point in the book, you may not identify with each pattern that I've mentioned in the
hmm
book, but there
hmm
may be a couple, there may be a few or more than a few
hmm
that, we came in here to work on.
Right.
And that's the main thing,
Right.
to grow,
Right.
to just get a better positive approach with this stuff,
Right.
get better relationships
There
through
you
that.
go. All right. Well, we're going to go to commercial break. Guys, I'm here today with Bernie Ashman. This is the book. If you're watching me on YouTube, it's Sun Sign Karma. It's Resolving Past Life Patterns with Astrology. This is Nancy Earl. This is High Road to Humanity, and we'll be right back. Hi, this is Nancy Earl. This is High Road to Humanity. I'm here today with Bernie Ashman. His book is Sun Sign Karma. We're talking about past life patterns. And I wrote down a few things. You say past life patterns from previous incarnations can still be with us in our current incarnation. How do you know, though? I mean, I don't know, not to be wishy-washy about this, but I started looking at mine, and there's so much you can tell by astrology, but how do you know, like, how do you pick this stuff up? Like, did this come to you intuitively, or how do you get to this point, I guess?
Yeah, well, these signs, they're powerful, all
Okay.
12 of them.
Okay.
And, I noticed there's some people that are reading each one because they feel like it speaks to them. It's not just their
Oh,
thinking.
okay.
I had somebody say that to me recently, and which made a lot of sense. I always say life is a 12-step process when you think about these 12 signs. So
Mhm.
it may not even just be directly your sun sign. You might want to take a look at a different chapter. But these
Oh,
came to me just mainly because of my own experience with each of these signs, to be honest with you, in my own life, because through time, we're going to encounter each of them one way or another. But the sun sign is a powerful thing that we're born under.
okay.
Somebody asked me, why would a sun sign be a past life experience? And if you stop and think about it, though, if the sun represents our ego in a good kind of way, like our ego strength, our
Okay.
creativity, our
Right.
willpower,
Okay.
it does give us a chance. If that sign is related to a past life theme, at least you've got the energy, you've got the sun at your back. It's got your six, as they say, it's
Mm-hmm.
backing you up and
Mm-hmm.
it's carrying you through this lifetime. So there is a lot, I feel, in that book that really will reveal some things to people about what they came in here to work on. But
Okay.
certainly, whatever you read in this book, you can transform it into a creative energy for sure.
Okay. We're getting a little bit of static on your end. I don't know where that's coming from, but you might want to, I don't know, you have a microphone maybe that's
Static.
a little static.
There is?
Yeah. Or maybe you're touching your microphone. That's what it is. You're touching your microphone.
Oh,
She's fixing it for you. God bless her. You know, that is, yeah, that you say it's a vehicle, which I think is interesting. You say your sun sign is a vehicle through which you identify your past life patterns. And it is true. I will say, when I opened the book up and I went to mine, I could recognize it. And I could recognize some of these patterns. Yeah. Some of them I didn't, some of them I did. Some of them I recognized that things I had already accomplished or made it through.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that was kind of interesting. Now, let me ask you this. What do you see? I'm going to ask you for a little bit of predictions going on here. What do you see happening? You talked a little bit about, you know, the COVID and how you felt that all this had come about. You know, do you have any information that would be helpful for us? You know, we are in October going into, you know, the holidays and all of that.
Yeah. I would imagine after the first of the year, as you get into the spring of 2022, just from the way some of these alignments are, if you're looking at it astrologically, it would just seem to me that there's going to be a steady breakthrough. Things should be really looking up, I would think, by the spring of 2022, I would imagine.
Okay.
Which I know everybody's hoping for, because we're all getting pretty tired of this, for sure.
Right.
But it just seems to me that's something to look for, I would think, by next spring.
Okay. Yeah. No, you know, I do this show because I'm trying to help people and bring them good information. There's a lot of people who are waking up and realize, you know, to a higher vibration. Do you see that coming through astrologically in the spring of 2022, where more people are aware?
Yes, most definitely. There's a lot of good energy in this world. I know when you read the headlines and you read, if you listen to the news, whether it's whatever station you listen to, you can really get down. Sometimes it's a downer, but there's so much out here right now in terms of positive energy that you have to connect with. You just, whatever your technique is to do that, whether you like to walk, whether you meditate, think positive. I always like the Buddha quote I have in the Virgo chapter in that book, which says, you know, be vigilant, guard your mind against negative thoughts. I think there's a lot of truth in that, but we're human. Sometimes we're going to take a dip. We all do that. But, you know, somehow we got to have to hang on to what that positive energy is. And there's a lot of it in this world right now.
Yeah.
You know, it's really
so nice to hear you say that, because I think so too. I agree with you.
There really is. You know, and I'm not trying to be Pollyanna.
No.
I'm a pragmatic person, pragmatic astrologer. But you can be pragmatic about positive energy and how much light there is in this world right now.
Right.
So you just have to make the right choices sometimes, if you can.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely, gosh, it's nice to hear you say that, Bernie, because I feel the same way. And so, you know, here's the thing, we're coming to a time where people are waking up, we're connecting. I connect every day to the divine, something I used to not do, but now I do. And, you know, I'm conscious of my thoughts, and I tell the audience, be careful of your words and your thoughts, because we're creating our reality right now. And so, you know, we're learning all of these things as a, you know, as a society, as humanity elevates. Do you see, like, because I feel like, I don't know how far you look ahead, but I really feel like 2023 is going to be a huge difference in our humanity. What do you feel?
I think so too. You know, Neptune went into Pisces in 2012 for a 14-year cycle. And that was the first time it did that since the 19th century, when Impressionism came in, when some of the roots of New Age thinking actually started back then. This is the first time we've been embraced by this particular cycle. And what you're saying actually makes sense about 2023, because there is going to be a breakthrough, I think.
I do too.
By the spring of 2022, it could be that soon. But in 2023, we're going to be showered with that kind of energy, you know, to really kind of uplift us. So it's important though to connect with it. I mean, there's an old saying, when you pray, move your feet. And I think it's very true of some of these cycles that are here right now.
Okay.
And especially next year and in 2023, like you're saying, if you have a dream, try to manifest it, because there's a lot here right now. If you read some of the books that are coming out right now, even, they're powerful.
Yeah.
Not just mine, but I've endorsed some books recently, and it just blows my mind what people are writing right now,
right,
or living.
It gives me chills. It's true. Well, it's true, and everybody that comes on the show, it's so interesting. I had the Flat Earth Dave on last week, and I have people who talk to me about different timelines and how we create a new timeline every time we make a choice. And people are starting to, pay attention, how to reprogram our thoughts, how to reprogram our words, all this stuff. It's like, to me, it's super exciting.
Yeah, it is. I've noticed for myself, when I've actually had an idea for a book and wanted to get a book contract, a lot of it's got to be me, though. I have to be in the right place for that to happen if I'm going to present something. But this is true of everybody. Whatever it is you're trying to do, it doesn't have to be writing a book. It could be, something for everybody. It's just whatever that motivation is. To move forward. Just keep moving forward. Don't look back too much if it didn't work the way you wanted it to, because I think there's a lot of truth in that. And there's a lot of good energy in this world right now. I'm convinced of that.
Yes.
I just see it.
Yeah, no, I do too. Trust me, I do too. There are a lot of people. I'll tell you what's really interesting. I have a lot of people. I do a lot of readings too. And I talk about it on the show. I've had so many people just wanting to learn how to connect. We're not taught how to connect. And so I just did a video on that. People want to know more about how to manifest, these aren't things that we were taught in school, that there's a higher vibration and it's a love vibration, and go outside and it helps you and it heals you. I mean, all these different things, that are coming in. Are you seeing that too, huh?
Perfectly. Yeah. Almost like you took the words right out of my mouth. And I think a lot of us are living it, are trying to embrace it. Sometimes we're so close to a new energy. And sometimes we just have to pay more attention or open up, receive it. I see that a lot when I'm doing readings for people. I just encourage them, I'll just point a cycle that's coming in. And, with Neptune, this cycle with Neptune right now, a lot of people are getting a new intuitive highway built for them at this point in time. They may not be aware of it. And some people are, though, that are inwardly directed or really open to that. I see it a lot in people that I'm doing chart readings for at this point in time, which is really interesting also. And even in myself, just power coming through. So this is really an exciting time period. It may not look like it sometimes when you look around at the way the world is, but there's a lot of good light happening right now, for sure. I'm convinced of it.
I'm convinced of it too. And we'll go to commercial break and we'll talk more about this when we come back. Hey, do you have a website, Bernie? It's bernieashman.com.
Yes, that's it.
And that's how people get in touch with you if they want a reading. So that's really cool. So they just go on there and they can book, right?
Yeah, they can.
Okay, cool.
Just connect with me. Contact
All
me.
right. All right, cool. You guys, the book is called Sun Sign Karma. It's really interesting. He has all the different astrological signs in here, and you can read about yourself and how your past life karma is affecting your relationships today. This is Nancy Erout. This is High Road to Humanity, and we'll be right back. All right. Hi, this is Nancy Erout. This is High Road to Humanity. I'm here today with Bernie Ashman. We're talking about our past lives. Bernie, you were telling me about past life charts. How does this work? Talk to us.
Yeah, there's a traditional chart. You set a chart up and there's these 12 astrological houses. And they go in a counterclockwise direction. I invented a past life chart around 20 years ago that got turned into a software program by Matrix Software. and cosmic patterns in Gainesville, Florida, where I went to college, believe it or not,
Oh my
in
God.
Florida,
Okay.
took it over. And this chart goes clockwise. It's like a retrograde kind of chart.
Okay.
And it kind of takes you back to those past life patterns. The whole chart does. And that one I invented intuitively. I was actually asked to write the interpretations for a past life software program back about 20 years ago,
Okay.
because Matrix Software knew I was really into past lives.
Right.
But when I was working on the outline, it was amazing. I actually saw the past life chart inside the traditional chart at that time intuitively. And my left brain was fighting my right brain. Like my left brain had been so long used to a certain way of doing things.
Right.
And my right brain was saying, just think out of, just follow your intuition out of the box.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when I presented that, they loved it right away. And it turned into an international best-selling software program.
So if I wanted to go on there and how would I do that? I mean, you can do that. Tell the audience how can they access it?
What I do is I take a person's, when they give me their birth information,
okay,
I put it into the regular chart, and then I can push a button, and it transforms into the past life chart. It gives you a whole different thing. There's something, the 12th house in astrology is like the mothership of past lives.
Okay.
And it's not, in the traditional chart, it's not what's called the rising sign or the ascendant. That's the first house. But in this chart, the 12th house becomes the ascendant, and you start counting backward to get these houses. The planets become into different houses. So I know I'm talking a little technical here, but
no, that's okay. Go ahead.
Is that okay?
Yes.
For those people that would know astrology, it's like you're just counting, instead of the 12th house being the 12th house, it becomes the first house.
Okay.
Instead of the 11th house being the 11th house, becomes the second house, and so on. It just goes around clockwise. And it gives you a whole set of new interpretations. In astrology, there's something called the nodes of the moon, N-O-D-E-S.
Okay.
I'm from the Northeast, and I've lived in the South a long time. So I sometimes my Southern and Northern run together. So I spell the nodes out so people know what I'm talking about. But there is a North node and a South node. When you get a chart done, there's this little symbol that looks like a pair of headphones. It's called the North node of the moon. And its opposite is the South node. It looks like an upside down pair of headphones. It's a dynamic polarity that's probably followed us from one incarnation into another. But it's like a compass point to get a real good feel why you're here in this current incarnation. It talks about this little polarity, why you came here and where you came from. So it's a good place to start, whether you're using a traditional chart or the past life chart I invented. There's a lot you can do. There's different patterns, themes that I've just worked with for years that I can just see it really quickly. When I look at a chart, I can see the whole chart in probably 45 seconds.
Oh my God.
It used to take weeks to do that when I first started.
Right.
Because you have to start somewhere.
Right. Right. No. Yeah. I think it's amazing. Now, you've written other books about astrology and about but this is really, I don't know, I just want to say like forward, it's very forward, to finally say, hey, I can tell, or we can look at your sun sign and say, this could have happened to you in a past life or whatever. Yeah. I just think has this worked? Can you give us some stories maybe about, how this has worked out for some clients or some friends or family or anything?
You take somebody that I worked with recently that was a Scorpio, and just with different themes in their chart, they were just kind of in a particular pattern of getting the same type of relationship that wasn't delivering what they wanted. And the interesting thing about Scorpio, in astrology, it can symbolize rebirth. And it just so happened they were in the middle of like a rebirthing process to take something that they were attached to that just wasn't quite you could say giving them the clarity they needed to empower themselves enough to attract the right kind of person to them.
Okay.
So I just was, talking to that person about that, and it really did help them, because they said it just kind of opened a door to just see what they were doing. It wasn't, to say they were doing everything wrong, because it's a learning experience for all of us, especially with relationships.
Right.
Just how to deal with them, whether you've been in one a long time even. But it really helped her, just to get a new take
New
on
perspective.
the way, maybe a new perspective, exactly.
Yeah.
And sometimes, sometimes it's just a slight little clearing up something. It's not like has to be a major change for a lot of people.
Right.
I've noticed. So that's just one example.
Yeah.
I did write a book that got published by Llewellyn also in 2010 called Sun Signs and Past Lives, Your Soul's Evolutionary Path.
Okay.
And I did another technique in that book where you can look up your birthday and get a past life reading in that book.
Neat.
Yeah, and I've got the personality of the person for this incarnation, and then some of the patterns they came in to work on, and some of the same technique. This is something technical. In a sign, there's 30 degrees in an astrological sign.
Okay.
Every 10 degrees, though, means something. And your birthday falls in one of these, what are called decans or decanates. And in the book, I divide them up. You can find your birthday and get a really quick, instant reading.
That's neat.
Which I thought was really kind of a fun technique to use in that book. So yeah, I've been working on this a long time.
Well, yeah. And the information that you're providing is actually very helpful to people to get them. Well, here's what I'm realizing as you're talking. And I think this is one of the things in the book is that we do come down here to learn. And so what you're pointing out are some of the things that we came here to learn. And, you put them in little paragraphs, you guys. It's really cool how he's got it set up. He's got each, star sign. And then he gives you these little short paragraphs about, you want to talk about that a little bit? Because I think it's pretty interesting.
Yeah. And I wrote it that way because if you're like me, sometimes you don't want to read a whole large section because, we're getting to that point where we want information. It's not that we want to take away the depth though. What I wanted to bring the depth in so somebody could get it quickly to just get the point of, what I really was saying. And the reason why I even separated it into two sections, like what maybe you came in here to work on and then gave the technique or the answer to that in the next section, I kept it short. So you could get kind of a quick response time in this. Right. But I just wanted to make the information digestible and process. So a person could process it and put it right into action, right into the life if they felt like they needed to.
Right.
So that was another major thing. That's a technique I've used throughout my books to try to write that way. And people say I have a folksy style where I try to down to earth because that's the way I am.
Yeah.
And I was so grateful that Llewellyn didn't change it. They
they left it alone
without changing that.
Yeah.
So people could just get more of a personal experience of the person writing the book. So they would connect with me quicker.
Right.
I do that for clients because they bond with me because of that. I'm just try to present the chart or the information in a way to make it really understandable for them. I'm just here to serve them is the way I look at it.
Well, you care about the people. You care about the person that you're going to do the reading for, which I think is really great. I really like it. And you guys, this is how it kind of looks. He puts like Aquarius for me. And then he puts like the individualist, and then he gives the dates of, if you're born between January 20th and February 18th. He gives the element, which I'm air, strengths, which mine are inventive, independent, and trendsetting. That's me, trendsetting. Challenges too unpredictable, aloof, listening to opposing viewpoints. See, I'm good at listening. I like to listen to everybody's different opinion. But anyway, karmic relation, primary shadow, resisting change. Ooh.
Yeah.
And then Key to transforming karmic patterns, listening to intuition. And that's true. When I read that, I thought, oh, yeah, because that's, it's, I've evolved. Like I read what you wrote and I thought, oh, he's right. It's taken me all these years to, become intuitive. I've always been intuitive, but to develop more and more and more.
Exactly.
And like you were saying, yeah. And like you were saying earlier, it seems like just in this last year, man, my psychic abilities have gotten like over the top. And you were talking about that. And you picked that up astrologically for everybody, right?
Yes. Yeah. Some of these, Neptune is a really collective planet. Carl Jung, he talked about the collective unconscious. Neptune in Pisces is like delivering it to us. It's a powerful collective unconscious cycle on the earth right now. And there's all these archetypes in it, all these symbols. We can take our pick, which one we want to use. I mean, this is like an amazing time period.
It really is.
We're living it right now. When those impressionists came out, we're delivering that in the 19th century and people thought they were crazy.
Yeah.
They were tapped into it back then. This cycle was then. This cycle's here now for us, whether we're metaphysical, whether we're whatever we are.
Yeah, it's here.
Doesn't matter. It's here for everybody.
Yeah. Hey, we got to go to commercial break, guys. I'm here today with Bernie Ashman. His website is bernieashman.com. His book is called Sun Sign Karma, Resolving Past Life Patterns with Astrology. This is Nancy. You're out. This is High Road to Humanity, and we'll be right back. Okay. Hi, this is Nancy. You're out. This is High Road to Humanity. I'm here today with Bernie Ashman, and we're going to talk some more about past life patterns. Bernie, take it away.
Yeah. When you get a whole chart done, there's different themes you can look at, and people sometimes will want to know about, in this lifetime, what opportunities they might have, for their creative expression, finding happiness, finding some peace in their life. Right. And then they want to know something about maybe what kind of past life experiences they came in to get clear about. And you'll find that there's certain planets like Saturn in a chart that we all deal with sooner or later. Okay. There's something called a Saturn return that happens around age 29, reoccurs at 58, but there's different times. It's not just those years, but the way Saturn is set up in a chart, it can tell sometimes where we're resisting change, where we could be resisting growth. And it's not like it's saying we're supposed to do that, but sometimes there's just that natural instinct. I'm just not quite ready maybe to make a move or to open up to some kind of a new experience. And sometimes people are asking me how to get past that, how to, sometimes it's a little bit of fear of a change, or maybe they've made a mistake in the past and it's like they just can't seem to get through it. And sometimes it could be from a past incarnation where they were afraid to show who they were. Right. They have a pattern of that maybe. In this lifetime, I'm kind of encouraging them, we'll just take a small step. Saturn is a planet, interestingly enough, if it fell from the sky, astronomers say it would float on the ocean. That's how light it is.
Oh my gosh.
It's finding lightness with it. There is a lightness inside that planet. You can read stuff about people writing about it and you think, oh God, this is a heavy, depressing planet. True, when people are depressed, I can usually trace it through Saturn, but it also has a lightness to it. When you find that wisdom, it's also very connected to wisdom. So it's just getting clear maybe about that pattern you came in here to work on. Another one's Pluto, that planet. Pluto can show, maybe you could say, where we came in to get a new rebirth of some sort to transcend a particular past life pattern that we have. Somebody once said to me, I was doing a reading 4 years ago, Pluto sounds like cosmic composting, taking a negative energy and planting it in a more positive way. And basically, if you find any patterns connected to that planet, sometimes it has to do with power, just knowing how to assume your own power, but not trying to take too much of it. It can be, something
balance, learning balance.
Balance is a big deal. And with those nodes in the moon I talked about, that's all about balancing the two, really.
Right. I want to ask you a question. You were talking about Saturn, and and when you said that, it kind of made me think that, so that's if like that came through, and if you were stuck and not really doing what you were supposed to do, the planets or the universe has a way of pushing you forward sometimes, even if you don't want to. And that's kind of what that was, wasn't it?
Yes. Yeah, very, very, very much so.
That happened to me, so I kind of relate to it. And that happened when, like a year or two ago, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you are in a Saturn cycle, there's something called transits, like where the planets are in the sky now. And Saturn stays in a sign for 2 to 2.5 years.
Yeah.
So eventually it's going to be moving over a planet in your chart. It could be your sun sign, moon sign. And it could be tied into a major cycle. It has to do, I call Saturn the cosmic chiropractor, because sometimes it has to do with making adjustments.
Right.
We just need to structure our life at times. Ways.
Yeah.
So it's just interesting how you use it, basically.
I gotcha. So what's going on right now? Can I ask that? So we're in the beginning of October, and we've just now, fall has just come upon us. And is there anything for the month of October that we should be aware of, I guess I should say?
Saturn in the sky right now, for all of us, is in the sun Aquarius. Your sun sign, by the way.
I know.
And you're right. If you think of some of the symbolism of Aquarius is goals, Saturn might be saying on a personal level, try to clarify what maybe your goals are. Try to take a positive step or a positive approach with those experiences. Saturn Aquarius definitely is connected to our individualism. But it's got a funny duality, Aquarius. All the air signs do.
Okay.
Because if you read about Aquarius, it's said to represent individuality, but then you might be affiliated with groups.
Right.
So it could be a person is really feeling an allegiance or an alliance to certain groups that support their way of thinking. And that could be important, a support group of some sort that they might need to have. If you think about it, for the world, certainly it's a real test of being able to move forward with, we just went through we're in a 100-year pandemic we're trying to come out of. So it's just trying to keep the right kind of attitude for all of us. So, somebody was asking me about a post-pandemic reading recently. They wanted to know what to do as we come out of this. She wanted me to do a post-pandemic reading.
Unbelievable. I'm sorry. This kind of scares me. It means that people fed into it way too much. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. Which I thought was really an interesting way to put it.
Wow.
But in a way, if you got Saturn, Saturn's in Aquarius right now, and it will be, for a while longer. Another, through even into 2022, it's going to be there. Right. But it's not like we can just stop, and just go, well, we're not going to do anything. We have, obviously people are still moving forward and trying to do things. But you can tell that when you look at governments right now, whether it's ours or the ones around the world, everybody's trying to figure out their identity right now, these different governments in the world. I'm not sure that people are as confused as the governments are now. Yeah. Because Saturn rules governments.
Okay.
Aquarius rules the individuals. So maybe the people are out in front of where the governments are right now.
I think so. I think
the people are trying to lead the government forward.
I agree with that. It's so funny because the governments are all messed up. The people see it. This is true. This is what I feel too. The people see it. They don't know what to do because these guys are in charge. We're all waking up and we're like, well, wait a minute. We don't like it like this. So when will the change happen?
I would imagine, the way I look at this, you'll probably start to see the ice break sometime next spring. It could be April, could be May.
Yeah.
may take into 2023 with the governments the way they are. I mean, it just may take a while. Might loosen up a little bit in the spring for all of us, and maybe the governments even will catch up to some extent how to live through this. You know, there's a lot of communication confusion even sometimes coming down from governments to the people. It's not that it's all bad, but you can tell sometimes there's a disconnect going on. So, but it might get clearer. I'm hoping. The optimist in me kind of feels that maybe things will start to get a little better, maybe next April, next May.
Yeah.
Hopefully that'll open the door for something better to happen out of all this. Hopefully. Well, I look at it anyway.
Do you feel, now I've always felt that this has been a positive time where people stayed home and hopefully went in. A lot of us went inside and developed our, you know, inside, which hopefully people will start to learn that the inside is more important than the outside. And that's been the hidden blessing, I think, in all of this.
You're right. Yeah. It's been a real reflective time period, you know, for a lot of people. And, you know, some people have gotten probably, you know, cabin fever or haven't dealt with it as well. But then again, I think a lot of people have just seen this as a time to just, you know, just get a different take on the world and their life in it. So,
and where they want to be.
Yeah, that's very true. I know for a lot of people that I know, and for clientele that I've worked with, it's been interesting to hear their reactions, you know, to this. It hasn't all been negative. You know, a lot of them have found some positive experience. You know, it's been really funny, like to watch like a show like QVC, and they're all doing Zoom. They're not coming in anymore. And you see the pets. They're holding cats, you know, the dogs are walking around them. Yeah. It's been kind of refreshing, really, to see people at home.
Well, it's been kind of fun too, because it seems like I've connected with more people around the world than I ever have before. And so in a lot of ways, it's really expanded my reach, you know?
Yes. Oh, me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I do readings for people like in Australia now, and I find out what's going on with them. And, you know, I want to ask you, we got to get out of here in a few minutes, but I want to ask you a couple questions, and I hope it's okay if I ask. You know, what do you see? And you may or may not see anything, but all these people, God bless them, coming in from Haiti, we've got thousands and thousands. Do you pick this up astrologically? I mean, what is this really about?
Well, there's been the nodes of the moon for in the sky, those north and south node I talked about.
Right.
They've been in Gemini and Sagittarius.
Okay.
And they are travel nodes.
Okay.
And Sagittarius can definitely have to do with migration.
Okay.
And people looking for a better life, wanting to relocate. So it didn't surprise me at all that things were really getting revved up, people wanting to come in. And, you know, in the United States, we've always had border confusion. You know, there's been a lot of indecisiveness about it, period, what to do about it. But the fact that people want to travel and come here, astrologically speaking, I think it makes a lot of sense through just the nodes of the moon themselves.
What shows it?
Yeah, the way they've been. Jupiter in the sky has been in Aquarius, and that can be really people taking a chance on finding a new life. Just say, I'm getting out of here, rebelling against where they are, Aquarius, doing something different, being on the move. This is a very nomadic time period. People are mentally on the move. There's a lot of migration going on inside of my head, excuse me, inside of other people's heads, and also in the world physically. So it has a lot to do with movement of ideas. Right. It's almost like our souls migrating in some ways.
Yeah, well, a lot of people are relocating too throughout the United States. Like I'm getting ready to move, and actually my house was sold, and now it's not. And it's like, okay, it's not time for me to go yet, but I'm going to go too. But I see a lot of people moving. That's part of this too, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Totally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, totally.
Like everybody's repositioning or something.
Yeah. And, I'm not moving. My wife and I have been in the same place since 1985.
Right.
But I keep thinking about all the places I've lived, traveled to.
Mm-hmm.
I keep reflecting on this during this time period with some
Okay.
really interesting memories of those
Okay.
places.
Okay.
But you're right. I'm getting a lot of questions from people that want to relocate.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm seeing a lot of people on the move right now.
Yeah.
A lot of people are coming in, keep coming into this state of North Carolina.
I know. I've looked at, like I said, I always talk to you before the show. I've looked at North Carolina too. It's a beautiful state. I love the mountains there. Well, what's your next book? What are we going to do after this, Bernie? You got anything coming out or what's happening?
Right now, I'm so flooded with readings.
Oh my gosh. Are you?
I've been for quite some time. I'm booked really heavy.
Okay.
My mind is on my clients right now. But, that book came suddenly. I wasn't even planning on writing that book. So once it started, I couldn't stop it. That's the way it always is with me.
Yeah.
So the next one I could be starting in a few months. Who knows?
Who knows? Okay. Well, you got to come back once you put it together. But you guys, if you want a reading, it's Bernie Ashman. So it's BERNIE Ashman ASHMAN.com, and the book is Sun Sign Karma. Bernie, thanks for coming on the show. It's been a pleasure. Gone by pretty quick.
Oh yeah, I can't believe it. Yeah.
Well, it's been a pleasure. Hey, you guys, if you want a psychic reading, go to my website, nancyyearout.com, click on the book button, and you can book your date and time with me. I also have the new VIP thing on my website. I'm doing some special videos to teach people different things about how to connect and how to manifest and all of that. And so check that out. Bernie, it's been just a pleasure, and I hope you'll come back and see me again.
I will. Thank you so much. This is wonderful.
Oh,
really appreciate it.
Oh, no problem. I appreciate you coming on. You guys, the book is called Sun Sign Karma. This is Nancy Yearout. This is High Road to Humanity, and we will see you next time. Everybody take care. God bless.
Connect the dots and keep the motion. Can achieve your goal. Let's hit the high road.
Hey, you guys, join me next week on The High Road for more stories filled with wisdom, love, and hope for our future. Have a fabulous week, and know that by staying on the high road, you will make it to your destination. Visit my website, nancyyearout.com, where you can book a private session to learn how to tap into your own abilities. And check out my YouTube channel. It's Nancy Yearout, High Road to Humanity.
You can achieve your goal.